Hello and welcome to MtM Vegas. November visitors were down, but the New Year's Eve party was happening on the Strip. We'll talk about it, plus find out how I got paid in credit to stay at Delano this week. I actually made a quote-unquote profit. The only buffet that's open on the Strip is closing down for who knows how long. And we'll talk 2021 Vegas predictions. All of that coming up right now. I'm Sean Coomer, the founder of Miles to Memories, joined by Mark Osterman, my managing editor. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with friends. Let's hit it. So Mark, how was your New Year's Eve up there in Michigan?
It was good. The kids actually ended up staying up all night. They tried last year. My daughter made it, and my son passed out like 10 minutes before midnight. So they were pretty pumped and wide awake all the way up until midnight. So, hey, I guess that's our COVID New Year right there.
Ellie
How
was
about you?
Ellie was the same way. She was up past midnight. This is the first year that she's ever even made it close. So I don't know if it's just because things are strange, but it was quite interesting to watch stuff on TV, kind of see New York, Times Square so empty. And then like the Vegas Strip was a tale of, depending on when you looked at it. You sent me a picture earlier in the night, right, where it looked empty. What is that, around like 9 or
Yeah.
10 o'clock?
Yeah, something like that, and it was just desolate. And I'm assuming they cleared the streets because they had shut them down so people could walk on it. So that might have been like right before they allowed people out on the streets, but they had shut down all the cars. But there wasn't even people walking on the sidewalks or anything. So it was unique.
We thought, oh, there's nobody here. It's going to be empty. And then, of course, on Twitter and elsewhere, the videos and the pictures started coming in later showing just massive crowds on the Strip. Maybe slightly less than you normally would have, but there was a lot of people there.
Yeah, it seemed like they all congregated around the Bellagio fountains too. Like I had seen and read that, if you go south of that a little bit, it wasn't too busy and just everybody flooded to the fountains. So if you wanted to be in the middle of it all, I guess that's the place you wanted to be.
Yeah, for sure. There was tons of people there. And we also talked last week about Fremont Street Experience and what happened there with Fremont Street. It was supposed to be a $25 security charge, and that didn't happen. They actually came in at the last minute and canceled it. It was, right after our video came out, actually, the news came out. So Fremont Street was quiet, although the Plaza still did their fireworks. It was only open to hotel guests, and things were relatively quiet there. But I was kind of surprised they were going to allow people. They were going to charge the $25 fee, so I wasn't surprised when they kind of put an end to that.
Yeah, but you think they could have, expected that a little bit better or just not allowed it because it was kind of surprising. They announced it, what, like 6, 7 hours before the event was supposed to open up. So they didn't give a lot of people time. And I'm sure some people didn't hear about it and headed down there anyway. So just seems like a lot of bad planning, or they were just like, screw it, we'll make it work. And then everybody started to put pressure on them. So they ended up backing out last minute.
Yeah, I think the pressure came from above because it was an approved event from the city, but I think it came from the state level. And who knows what happened behind the scenes there. But I'd say that it was probably a successful New Year's Eve, depending on what your perspective is with it. I know people are worried about cases and stuff like that, and certainly there were crowds that were not distanced on the Strip. But we'll hope for the best there. And I mean, on the flip side, it was good to see people in town, people having fun. Hopefully, this will kind of blow over as far as the controversy goes. So many people being packed in together. Speaking of the Strip, I actually spent the last 2 nights on the Strip, and the crowds were still there. They still lingered from New Year's Eve. Certainly the busiest I've seen it in a couple of months. I stayed at Delano and I stayed at New York, New York. So we'll have reviews of those coming. Both stays were significantly better than my stay at the Rio. So that was good. And I don't have a big, long
That
story
bar
to
is
tell.
pretty low. That bar is like
Yeah.
way down on the dirt.
Yeah, no big story to tell here, no big disaster. Actually, at Delano, I stayed for better than free. I booked through American Express Fine Hotels and Resorts, which we talk about a lot on the website, and I'll put a link in the description. It's for Platinum card holders. So if you have the American Express Platinum card or Centurion card, you can use it, and you get a $100 credit per stay plus free breakfast per day. So if you're only staying for one night like I was, you get a $100 credit plus $60 worth of breakfast credit. And that was great. But when I checked out, so my rate was $58 plus tax, plus the resort fee came to about $110. And I was getting $160 in credit. But even better, when I checked out, they actually waived the resort fee. So I paid $70 and I ended up
Did they say,
actually
"Oh,
charging.
you're that famous YouTube guy? Let me give you the resort."
No, actually, she was just really nice. There was some problems with the water. Like the water would get warm but not hot. Nothing that I would have complained about or gone to the front desk about. But she said, oh, well, we had issues in the tower today, so I just decided to waive the resort fee. I had used 146 of my $160 credit, so she applied that towards it and then just basically waived the whole thing. So yeah, out the door, I paid $70, including tax, everything else. Got this beautiful room, 700 square foot suite. The beds there are really great. That hotel's great. I can't wait to share it all. But this has been a deal that I've done a lot over the years. But $58 is the lowest rate I've ever seen, and there's lots of good deals when it comes to this stuff, especially midweek, but even on the weekends coming up in January, February.
Yeah, did they have more than just a fast food burger place open to eat at to use your credits?
Yeah, they had a few places. It wasn't quite what you would think. Mandalay Bay is where Delano is, and there's, I don't know, 14, 15 restaurants there, and the vast majority were closed. We ended up eating dinner actually at Luxor, at the Public House, which is just a sports bar, because we weren't dressed up for anything fancy. So the $100 credit right now can be used across any of the restaurants that are open at any MGM property. So that makes it a little bit nicer.
That's nice. Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah. Delano usually has a restaurant called Della's Kitchen, which has the most amazing farm-to-table breakfast, and I love it every time I stay there. Della's Kitchen's closed right now. And when they give you the letter for this, they say you could get breakfast at their little coffee cart in the lobby. But I asked them, and they said you could go to House of Blues or Citizens, which is another restaurant there, to use it for breakfast. So that's where I used the breakfast credit. So basically, a full breakfast meal, had steak and eggs, and dinner at Public House, which was great. So yeah, can't complain. And like I said, $70 out the door. Can't wait for the video because I really do love Delano. It's a hidden gem. I know a lot of people don't like going that far south on the Strip, but it's hey, it's a nice hotel. I mean, you're not gonna anywhere in the world. I challenge you to get a room that nice for that price.
Oh, for sure. I haven't been to Mandalay Bay in at least 10, 15 years, something like that. So we stayed down there early on in our Vegas trips, and we had booked a suite and everything, and we're looking forward to going to the wave pool and all that. And the wave pool was crammed. We ended up getting a little beach area like behind some cabanas. You couldn't even see the water. So if you are staying there when things are normal again, get up early if you want if you want to see the waves. But it was a beautiful property. It just, yeah, a little too far south for me.
It's more a contained resort. That's why it has so many restaurants. And of course, it's attached to Luxor and has tram to Excalibur. So if you're going to stay in that area, kind of maybe go as far north as Tropicana, because you can normally take the tram up there. Yeah, it's good location-wise, but if you want to be in Center Strip, it's certainly not there. And of course, the trams aren't running right now. The pool area is mostly closed right now. There is one small pool open, but you don't get the lazy river or the wave pool. But that's one of the reasons I always like staying there, is for that pool. Bring the family, but it's always crowded. Like you say, the wave pool is always crowded. The lazy river is always crowded.
Yeah,
I'm surprised more casinos haven't built those elements. I know MGM Grand has a lazy river, but for the most part, the casinos haven't gone all out on a water park style pool like Mandalay Bay, and I'm kind of surprised that they haven't.
Yeah, it's something you would think. I think, didn't the Monte Carlo have like a little wave pool action? I'm not sure if it's still there in the pool. I feel like they had like a small, but it was like one wave every 10 or 15 minutes. I could be just making this up on the spot. I don't know, but I swear I saw that.
I don't remember. I remember the Monte Carlo pool is right below the tram station when you get on the tram for City Center. And of course, it was redeveloped with Park MGM, so it's a brand new pool area, but I don't remember if it did or not. Let us know in the comments if you know, because we simply do not know everything.
Monte Carlo.
Now, well, let's move on to the next thing, the Las Vegas November visitor stats, which were just released. We cover these every single month, and this is the kind of first time we've seen a big drop month over month. I guess I'll just read what they highlighted on their report. With increasing COVID cases across the country and resumption of tighter travel restrictions and stay-at-home orders in the latter half of November, Las Vegas visitation came in at approximately 1.5 million people, down 18.4% month over month and 56.8% year over year. Total occupancy 39.3% for the month, with weekend occupancy up to 55.4% and midweek down to 32.4%. And yeah, the average daily rates were down. Everything was down across the board pretty much. Of course, November very slow going into the holidays.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of expected for it to be down compared to October. You know, the weather's not quite as good and holidays and everything, and everybody's trying to go see family instead of go to Vegas. So I'm not too surprised about that. But you had mentioned off air that the numbers for locals casinos are still going up, which is good to see. You know, the off strip properties are still doing well. I even noticed Laughlin's not down as much as Vegas is, which that's more of a locals area. And if you haven't seen the video, go see it because I've never been to Laughlin and now I want to go because it looks like there's a little beach oasis in the middle of the desert.
Hey, don't jump to conclusions here. Okay, I know I'm a
The
miracle
water
worker
does
with my
look
videos,
very
Mark.
the water does look very blue and very inviting. I mean, it's just a river, but it did look kind of cool. I don't know if you'd want to stay more than a day or two, but something different if you are going to the Vegas area.
Yeah, Laughlin had been doing a little bit better than Vegas. The one thing in Vegas that stood out was the Boulder Strip, and there's still a couple things that I'm shocked with here. First off, Boulder Strip over $68 million in revenue. That's up 16.1% from October, but it's up 18% from last year. So year over year, it's up. It's one of the few numbers that's up, and that just means that the local casinos are doing well, although we still see one of the major casinos on the Boulder Strip closed in the East Side Cannery. So check out our closed casino store if you want to see that. That's actually one of the newer, or it is the newest, and probably one of the nicer ones on the Boulder Strip. I'm kind of confused as to why it's closed, but I guess it's getting its neighbor Sam's Town, which is owned by the same company, is getting lots of business.
Especially with the numbers being up year over year, you'd think there's no reason to keep it closed unless they're just worried that opening up more capacity is going to not add more people. So what's the point, I guess?
Yeah, cannibalize their business, and lots of rumors, and we'll talk about this in the predictions coming up just a little bit later, but lots of rumors that it's for sale, and they don't want to deal with it right now. Of course, Boyd, who owns the Eastside Cannery, also recently sold El Dorado in downtown Henderson. So we'll stay on top of that, but Boulder Strip, good news there. Overall, not really surprising with the numbers. December numbers probably going to look very similar. Early December was really, really slow, although maybe they'll get that boost with those crowds from Christmas and New Year's. And January, February, probably not going to be much better, which brings us to the next thing, the Wicked Spoon, which is the only buffet on the Strip to have opened and stayed open this entire time since after COVID, is going to close. Wynn had opened for a little bit, and then they said they couldn't make it work, and they closed. Wicked Spoon had kept going, but as of January 10th, the doors shall shutter, and we don't know when they're going to reopen. They haven't announced when they will. I guess when things get back, probably around spring break would be my guess, when things get a little bit busier.
I mean, can you call it a buffet anymore when you're getting served and ordering and it's just a restaurant? It's like a all-inclusive restaurant, basically, that you pay a flat fee and then the waiter just brings you whatever, but so that's a little bit of a weird setup. You know, I mean, part of the fun of the buffet is going to look at things before you pick them out and everything. So you're not really getting that experience. And I could just imagine the waste you normally see at a buffet, the food they have to throw in and everything. And then you're limiting how many people are coming in and it's not all overall that busy. So I'm sure the food waste was really high. So I'm surprised they made it this long. I'm not surprised it's shutting down.
Now, with the Wicked Spoon, I think that you actually lined up at the stations, socially distanced, and then they just served you because that was already individual portions at that buffet. It was a little bit different than other ones, but the point is the same. It's just not exactly what you're used to. There is one buffet, one casino buffet left, and that is the Garden Buffet at the South Point, which has been going through all of this. Actually, I was there today. I wish I took video. I was just stopping in there to kind of scout stuff out. I wasn't set up for it. But the lunch buffet there is $15, and the dinner buffet I think is like $23, $25. So their prices are much lower than on the Strip. That buffet is pretty good, I think, over the years. I haven't been there in quite a few years, but if you want a buffet and you're in Vegas, it's only a couple miles south on Las Vegas Boulevard to the South Point, and you can eat all you want, but there's a 2-hour limit apparently. So just so you know. All right, and now let's move on to the last thing. This is the fun part, the predictions of 2021. I was inspired by Mark Meltzer on TravelZork because he posted his predictions, and a few of them stood out to me. So instead of making our bold predictions, I thought maybe we would talk about the ones he discussed, and then if we have anything else to add, we can do that. But which ones kind of stood out to you?
Probably the sportsbook operators. You know, it's been consolidation of sports books over the last few years. William Hill was purchased by Caesars, who had, you know, purchased another sports book. So you've seen less and less sports books out there. And he's saying, with the new resorts coming in, they're going to bring in their own sports books, and it's going to kind of launch this whole thing. And maybe DraftKings is going to take over one of the hotels. So that'll be interesting to see. And it kind of hit home because we just did sports betting here in Michigan. They legalized it literally the day before they shut everything down back in March. So day one, open sports bets. Next day, all sports were canceled. So that's kind of bizarre. But every day I hear on the radio that, sign up for this online sports betting and you'll get $100 free thing. And, I've heard like 5 or 6 different online sports bets, booking operations that are going to be rolling out in Michigan alone. And they're offering all these sign up bonuses and stuff. And I'm like, wow, I would only think that, the casinos were allowed some, or each one gets to pick one, or maybe one for all of Michigan. But it's kind of mass hysteria with multiple operations launching all at the same time. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out, and it kind of plays into Vegas with new places opening. See how that plays out. See if there's more competition and what happens there.
Yeah, if I have to talk about another casino reopening and say the William Hill Sportsbook, it's crazy that every time you see it in writing, it's always William Hill Sportsbook. But the sports business has become so big, and that company is huge. As you said, Caesars is buying them, but they're still going through regulatory approvals in like tons of states because William Hill is so big now, and they're through antitrust. So yeah, it'll be good to see more players come in. And I know he said Resorts World could be a game changer for that. So hopefully that will come true. The other one that was interesting to me was Planet Hollywood being sold to the Seminole tribe for the new Hard Rock. And I think this one makes perfect sense. I guess that maybe it almost makes too perfect of sense, but I'm not in the know. We know that Caesars kept Planet Hollywood closed because they have to pay royalty fees compared to some of the other properties where they don't, or at least that's what I had heard. But yeah, I mean, the Seminole tribe came in last year and they bought the Hard Rock rights for Las Vegas when the old Hard Rock went away. So they clearly want to get in the market, or at least wanted to have that option. So I could definitely see that happening. I think it's a perfect fit, obviously, right?
Yeah, I'd be sad to see Planet Hollywood leave Caesars as kind of a Caesars member, Caesars elite. And that's one of my favorite Caesars properties. I love the casino. I like, as we said last episode, I like the Diamond Lounge. But it would be a good fit. The vibe's kind of the same. They have the bar in the middle where the girls dance, and the music is all like rock and roll and hip hop and pop and all that. So I think it would fit well with the Hard Rock, what they want to do. It'll be interesting to see.
And it's a nice.
I kind of hope not.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I like Planet Hollywood the way it is, but I could see that property easily transitioning to the Hard Rock theme. And the rooms have all recently been done, so it probably is an attractive purchase if they can figure out what the price should be. So we'll pay attention to that. And Caesars has already said that they are going to sell properties, or Eldorado had said that before the merger completed. So I don't think it'll be a surprise that we will see that happening. And I wouldn't, throw it for the end of 2021, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Rio close when that 2-year contract is up. Although the developer who owns the Rio, I believe, has the option for that 3rd year where he can pay like $7 million and force Caesars into managing it. But that could be another property that Caesars loses this year. That'll be my prediction. Some other things he talked about, the Wynn West, which is that land across from Wynn, that it'll be sold off and that we'll see more operators come into Vegas. Of course, in 2021, we're going to see Resorts World by Genting, and then we're going to see Mohegan Sun come in with Virgin Hotels. So 2 new operators coming to Las Vegas next year. And he predicts that even more might be on the way. That would be a good thing, especially for what we've seen lately. Just having so few companies, so much consolidation, not a good thing for Vegas, not a good thing for innovation, in my opinion. I want some of that unique Vegas stuff back.
Yeah, I was really looking forward to, Lake Wynn, or whatever they're going to call it, with the huge lake over the golf course property, with jet skis on the strip and everything, and then Wynn West, and this huge development that was going to happen before Steve Wynn was found out to be a complete crazy whatever. But yeah, so I was really looking forward to that. It was the most unique thing to come to Vegas in a long time. Hopefully somebody does something with that property that is unique, even though they can't add a lake there. But hopefully we see something new and extreme. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that I don't think it's a bold prediction to say the north end of the strip is going to be the new hot place to develop. So that land across from Wynn, whether they want to develop it, it does seem like that company probably won't develop it now. But I think somebody will come in and do it. And then you also have that Fontainebleau site, which Mark, he predicts that it might be sold this year. I certainly think it'll either be sold or we'll see construction actually start on it this year, because I think Resorts World's launch is going to be successful. And I think that that's going to generate enough interest to bring another project right across the street. And so that's my prediction for 2021. Anything else you want to predict? Come on, go out on a limb.
No, I was just shocked. How does Nevada not have a lottery? What that was one of the predictions.
I think the casinos is the reason, because of Keno and going back in the days, they just wanted to protect the casino and their revenues and gambling, and they saw lottery as a threat. Mark says in his predictions that they'll instate a lottery in order to get more tax revenue. Certainly the state is hurting really badly when it comes to tax revenue, so who knows?
Yeah, it fits so well with everything else that Nevada and Vegas, just like greater Nevada, gambling everywhere, you would think it would fit in. I mean, most states have a lottery system which funds so much for the government, so I was surprised to see that one.
For sure, but definitely let us know what you think. We want to talk to you guys about this in the comments, so leave a comment, like this video, let us know your opinion on all of these stories, including all of the predictions for 2021. If you like this show and you want to listen to our podcast, we have a Miles Points Travel podcast, mtmpodcast.com. And we have tons of articles on the website about Las Vegas and travel, credit cards, finance, miles2memories.com. And that's going to do it for this week's MTM Vegas. Thanks so much for watching.
See you next week.
Bye.